Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri-varadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri-varadhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri-varadhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri-varadhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnuvad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kunigiri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamana Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Gaur. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:14-31. I know. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tatrapi niravarodhaha swairena birharan atikripana buddhir anyonya mukha nirikshanadina gramya karmanaiva vismrita kalavadhi. We'll go through the word for word meanings because there's a lot here. Tatrapi, in that condition, in the society of human beings descended from monkeys, niravarodhaha, without hesitation, swairena, independently, without reference to the goal of life, viharan, enjoying like monkeys, atikripana buddhihi, whose intelligence is dull because he does not properly utilize his assets. Anyonya, of one another, mukha nirikshana adina, by seeing the faces. When a man sees the beautiful face of a woman, and the woman sees the strong build of the man's body, they always desire one another. Gramya karmana, by material activities for sense gratification. Eva, only, vismrita, forgotten, kala avadihi, the limited span of life, after which one's evolution may be degrading or elevating. Translation. In this way, the descendants of the monkeys intermingle with each other, and they're generally known as Shudras. Without hesitating, they live and move freely, not knowing the goal of life. They are captivated simply by seeing the faces of one another, which remind them of sense gratification. They are always engaged in material activities known as gramya karma, and they work hard for material benefit. Thus they forget completely that one day their small lifespans will be finished, and they will be degraded in the evolutionary cycle. Purport. Materialistic people are sometimes called Shudras, or descendants of monkeys, due to their monkey-like intelligence. They do not care to know how the evolutionary process is taking place, nor are they eager to know what will happen after they finish their small human lifespan. This is the attitude of Shudras. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, this Krishna consciousness movement, is trying to elevate Shudras to the Brahman platform so that they will know the real goal of life. Unfortunately, being overly attached to sense gratification, materialists are not serious in helping this movement. Instead, some of them try to suppress it. Thus, it is the business of monkeys to disturb the activities of the brahmanas. The descendants of monkeys completely forget that they have to die, and they are very proud of scientific knowledge and the progress of material civilization. The word gramya karmana indicates activities meant only for the improvement of bodily comforts. Presently, all human society is engaged in improving economic conditions and bodily comforts, and people are not interested in knowing what is going to happen after death. Nor do they believe in the transmigration of the soul. When one scientifically studies the evolutionary theory, one can understand that human life is a junction where one may take the path of promotion or degradation. As stated in Bhagavad-gita, yānti deva-vratā devān pitṛn yānti pitṛ-vratāḥ bhūtāni yānti bhūtejyā yānti mad-yājino. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors. And those who worship me will live with me. In this life, we have to prepare ourselves for promotion to the next life. Those who are in the mode of Rajagun are generally interested in being promoted to the heavenly planets. Some, unknowingly, are degraded to lower animal forms. Those in the mode of goodness can engage in devotional service, and after that they can return home back to Godhead. Yānti mad-yājino. That is the real purpose of human life. This Krishna consciousness movement is trying to bring intelligent human beings to the platform of devotional service. Instead of wasting time trying to attain a better position in material life, one should simply endeavor to return home back to Godhead. Then all problems will be solved. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridyantasto Hibhadrani Vidhunoti Suhritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, Supersoul, in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who relishes his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. One simply has to follow the regulative principles, act like a Brahmin, chant the Hare Krishna mantra, and read Bhagavad-gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, one purifies himself of the baser material modes, tamagun and rajagun, and becoming freed from the greed of these modes, one can attain complete peace of mind. In this way, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead and one's relationship with Him, and thus be promoted to the highest perfection. Siddhim paramam gatam. Paramam gataha. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhūtale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadhati Shapadantikam Vande Hang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamanang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Stam Sadivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhopyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Tatrapi niravarodha swairena bihulan atikripana buddhi anyonya mukha nirikshanadina gramya kramanaiva vismita kalavadhi. Vismita kalavadhi. The conditioned souls forget that their time is short. They forget. And they forget, therefore they don't, they forget what is, forget or they never knew what the purpose of their life is. This is called ignorance. Such a short lifetime and wasted. Gramya karmanaiva, just wasted for sense gratification, activities for gratifying the senses. This is not the business of human life. Karmasya nendriya pritir, labho jiveta yāvata, jivasya, what is that? Jivasya tatvijñāsa, narto yasjeha karmapi. Life is meant for spiritual realization, but people waste it for the business of the monkeys. It's very vivid. Those who've been to Vrindavan have seen the monkeys. They resemble human beings in many ways. They have some intelligence. You can see their minds at work and their emotions at work. So they're something, and they're social. They don't need social media. They're busy face to face without the need of Facebook, face to face. But what is the business of their face to face? Their business is sex life. The monkeys are exceedingly promiscuous. At any moment, they're ready to jump on it and have sex. And this is their business. Anyonya mukha nirikshana adina. Looking at one another's faces and jumping over one another for sex. And this becomes the business. Actually, Facebook was started with that in mind, basically. It was a database of all the girls at Harvard. So what was the business? Sex. Social media means, finally, increasing sex life and the, what would you say, surrounding atmosphere of sex life. Anyonya mukha, looking at one another's faces. Anyonya mukha nirikshana adina, and so on. So you start by looking at the face and let your mind go, and from there on, sense gratification. Ati kripana buddhi. This is an exceedingly small-minded state of affairs. Kripana is a miser, and kripana buddhi, the intelligence, and buddhi means intelligence, but the intelligence is used for miserly gains. It's like we've got this, you're using a Ferrari for, what would you say? For a, yeah, it's a haul bricks, or using it as a storage place. You know, you put your, like these homeless people, you know, they throw stuff in their trucks and so on. So you've got a Ferrari, and you're using it for that. So we've got this human form of life, which can lead one back to Godhead. You can surpass the heavenly planets, you can surpass the Brahmajyoti, you can go back to the abode of Krishna. But no, let's have sex, which any dog can do. But we're human beings, so we'll write books about it, we'll have videos, we'll have seminars, we'll arrange this or that. But it's all for the same business, the animal life. Viharan, svairena viharan. Svairena means independently. Independent of what? Independent of any, of dharma, independent of any rules and regulations, independent of any higher purpose. Let's have sex, that's all. And independent means bound by the laws of nature. Thinking ourselves independent. They make an arrangement, independent, we can do as we like. College is especially a great place of independence where the young people can shack up with one another and enjoy their independence. But no one becomes independent. One becomes increasingly caught in the complexities of material nature. Yagyartat karmanon yatra lokoyam karma bandhana. When we act in Krishna consciousness, then we can make progress. Otherwise, simply acting for sense gratification, one becomes more and more implicated in the complexities of material nature. So this happens. The merchant thinks he's going to enjoy, but instead he becomes subjected to so many sufferings. So we shouldn't be kripana, brahmana. One should use one's human intelligence for advancement in Krishna consciousness. And I'll stop here and see what kind of questions, comments. We'll end early today. Krishna, 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 Krishna.
Thank you for a wonderful class. It's our misfortune you can't continue further. If we feel ourselves dealing with that miserly feeling that they're talking about, how do we combat that?
Go out and distribute books. Be generous. Miserly means that we're not using our assets. So actually all of our Krishna conscious activities use our assets properly. So if we're feeling that we're being miserly, then engage in something Krishna conscious. Some chant Hare Krishna, read books, do some service for Radha Gita Hari, or especially be generous, go out and make others fortunate, and you'll become more fortunate. That's our best activity, is distributing Krishna consciousness to others.
And what about if we find ourselves slipping into that monkey mentality? How do we practically deal with that?
Remember Hanuman. He's actually a monkey, but he's engaged in the service of Ram. So even if we're actually monkeys, we should engage in the service of Krishna. Is that all right?
Thank you, Maharaj. The discussion and also the text and the purport about sex life, but then we have Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who had many children, and he was extremely Krishna conscious, Shakti Vishavatar. So how can we how could we understand how someone in such an exalted position to be in a situation where there's
Exalted person, everything he does will be Krishna conscious. We don't say no sex. Yesterday I didn't say no sex. I said no illicit sex. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he had children, he had family, but it was all engaged in devotional service. Manasa geha yokichumor. Arpilo Tuapade Nandakishore. It was all dedicated to Nandakishore, Krishna. So, karma no anyatra. There's no karma bandhana. There's no karmic reactions or karmic implication when everything is done for Krishna. But that doesn't mean that we should make Bhaktivinoda Thakur our patron saint for unrestricted sense gratification or miserly householder life. If we can appreciate Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and as householders we can make him in our ideal, but not just that we invoke his name every time we want to justify inertia, laziness, over-involvement in family affection, and so on. What about Bhaktivinoda Thakur? What about Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Be Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Or at least follow Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Not that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a householder, and therefore it's Krishna conscious to be a householder and follow the less strict standard and use contraceptives and dedicate oneself to sense gratification, all in the name of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Otherwise, He was ideal, and one can follow that ideal. We don't, to be a householder is not bad. A brahmachari can be nonsense, a grihastha can be nonsense, vanaprastha can be nonsense, sannyas can be nonsense. Or they can all be ideal. Grihete banete thako, hagoranga bole thako. We don't care, ultimately. These are external things. Brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi. These are external. We want to see how someone's engaged in the service of Krishna. Then we want that person's association. Is that okay?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I just want to let you know there is one person in queue.
There's one question on Zoom.
Yes, Maharaj, may I?
Of course.
Maharaj, my question is, why is it that peace of mind is required for the understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead?
Why is peace of mind required for understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead? It's required for understanding anything. If our mind is not peaceful, it will be difficult to make progress. Just like a student, if his mind is agitated, he can't study. You know, he sits down to study his calculus, but he's only thinking of Susie. So how can he focus? Bhajatatmana prashantasya paramatma samahitaha. In the Bhagavad-gita, one who's conquered his mind and senses, prashantatma, whose mind is peaceful, jitatmana, prashantatma, paramatma, he's already reached the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We're chanting Hare Krishna, but our mind is agitated, and so we're thinking of Facebook, we're thinking of this woman or that woman, we're thinking of money, we're thinking of the aches and pains of the body, we're thinking of what I'm going to do at 3 o'clock, we're thinking of this, we're thinking of that. So where is the mind? It's all over the place. Thinking of Canada, thinking of Australia. But if the mind is peaceful and we're chanting Hare Krishna, then the mind will be fixed on Krishna. Then Paramatma Samahita. Then you've already reached the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Abhinatam Nama Namina. So one has to also, because peaceful mind means the mode of goodness. In the mode of passion, the mind is fired up about so many things for sense enjoyment. And in the mode of ignorance, the mind is dull. But in the mode of goodness, the mind is clear, the mind is awake, the mind is focused. So we're meant to come to the mode of goodness. Sattvat sanjayate jnanam. From the mode of goodness, knowledge develops. Otherwise, rajaso lobha evacha. From the mode of passion, greed. Sattvam sanjayate jnanam, rajaso lobha evacha. And then tamaso ajnanam evacha. Pramada moho tamaso. From the mode of ignorance comes madness, bewilderment, and foolishness. So we're meant to come to the mode of goodness, and from that mode, knowledge develops. That means mode of goodness is the peaceful mode. Anything else? Okay, we're not only going to end on time, we're going to end early. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.